The first thing that comes to mind, Jeff, is people plopping into their chairs, right? You know, you take a look at older people. I mean, there are some younger people that may do it also, but watch how a person, an older person, sits down. You know, the tendency, if they have not practiced moving consciously, if they have not learned how to sit in a biomechanically safe, efficient way, they're going to plop. So that's one of the first things. In their walking pattern, what tends to happen to a lot of older people, whether or not they've had a fall, is they tend to take shorter steps, slow their walking down, and you almost get a shuffle. And as much as people may think that by slowing down and taking these smaller steps, that they're going to prevent a fall, they are actually not doing themselves a favor. I don't know how else to say it. So that's something for people to become aware of and start working on. And I have to say, I spend an inordinate, I don't know if I'm getting that out right, an inordinate amount of time drawing people's attention to their feet and the role that their feet have in balance and walking. You know, they tend to cram their feet in a shoe and not really pay attention and nurture the well-being, the fitness and the condition of their feet because of how important the feet are for good balance. I'm on a roll there. I'm sorry.
It's probably even a bigger concern for women who try and cram their feet into small shoes and high heels and all that fun stuff.
Right, exactly. It was a mixed blessing having my father who was involved with shoe fitting, believe it or not. So I was one of those kids that was not allowed into, dressy looking shoes. I had very practical shoes. So today my feet are in good shape, but oh boy, I was so unhappy in those younger years.
Yeah, and you talk about flopping into chairs too. As you were talking about that, I started thinking about, our older generation. I mean, I'm 62. We grew up with beanbag chairs. We flopped into those. So we never really learned how to sit in proper chairs.
That's so funny. I actually sewed one. I learned how to make one. I had one for years. Yeah.
They were comfortable.
Those were the days.
Way back when. We're dating ourselves here, but
I don't
any
mind.
of our younger listeners are like, what's a beanbag chair? So
actually, there is something advertised nowadays. I forget what he calls it. It's like a cloud chair or something, but it's essentially a beanbag chair. So
everything comes back around.
Yeah. I doubt that there are many people your age, certainly not my age, that could even safely get down, much less get up from one of those things. And that's another whole challenge for older people. And that is the fact that they like to sit in their recliners. And that's just poison for both posture and for function.
I love my recliner. But I work on posture and everything else. So maybe I can justify sitting in my recliner.
Well, you know what? My feeling is if you learn the principles of good postural alignment, and you know that you want your curve of your back, the arch of your back supported, you want your arms supported as much as possible, then maybe you can do things to your recliner, like have a support behind your back. You can still be in the recliner, but your back is supported, your arms can be supported. You can raise your legs and, so you can possibly have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah, that's important. That's what aging well is, being able to eat your cake and have it too. So,
yeah.
And so you have a background in so many different modalities. You mentioned yoga, Tai Chi, Pilates, Feldenkrais. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, yeah. And the Alexander technique. Yes.
So how do you recommend? How do you recommend people begin if they're kind of new to some of these intentional movement practices?
You get my book. It's all in there. I'm serious because, as I evolved and my approach, just like as you continue on, you're going to keep having new evolution, new revelations, and it's going to add to, what you offer in your programs. So over time, I went from just teaching people align, breathe, center to realizing that even before they start learning their ABCs, that they develop and they understand what mindfulness is. That mindfulness is turning into becoming conscious of how you feel, what you are doing. You start becoming aware and conscious. And then you decide, well, you know what? I notice I'm not breathing as well. I'm noticing I'm hunching over. I'm developing mindfulness. I know there's conversation about mindfulness in eating for people who may be dealing with weight issues, but any change is going to have to begin with you becoming mindful and then deciding that you want to change and then starting to learn the different skills that will help you transform. And that reminds me, Jeff, the tagline for my company is Thera Fitness Inc. The tagline is transforming the ways you move through life. And what that is suggesting is that, I'm not recommending exercises. You do 3 of these 5 times a week, or 5 of these 3 times a week. As you become conscious of how you're moving, how you're holding yourself as you're moving, as you become conscious of your breathing, that happens throughout your day. So as you go throughout your day, you start transforming the ways you move through life. Please feel free to steal that.
Okay, we will. And so, you've been talking about mindfulness, and you differentiated between that and mindset a little bit earlier.